So welcome everyone to today's Lexis Plus Litigation Analytics webinar titled Insider Advantage, 3 Strategies to Accelerate Civil Litigation Success. My name is Paul Steffen. I'll be today's host and moderator. I've been with LexisNexis for just about 14 years and have served in a number of different segments during the time that I've worked here. Today, I lead our solutions consultant team, and that team provides training and support across our portfolio of products and content to our users across the LexisNexis state and local government customer base. Okay, so here's what our agenda looks like for today. I'm going to start with a quick review of the Zoom logistics and an introduction to our topic. Then I'm going to hand it over to Wade Malone, who will share how our litigation analytics solutions can help enhance your civil litigation process. Next, Stefan Shields, who's on the line with us, will move into a Lexis Plus demonstration, provide a live look at it, and that's going to focus on how litigation analytics actually work. Finally, if there's time left at the end of what we cover, we'll stop and do some Q&A. So speaking of Wade and Stefan, Wade co-leads our product team at Lex Machina, where he was previously the lead product manager. But prior to his time at Lex Machina, Wade actually worked as an intellectual property attorney in Palo Alto, or I should say in the Palo Alto office of Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher. Wade holds a JD from Stanford Law School, and before attending law school, he worked as an associate consultant in the Dallas office of Bain & Company. He also obtained his BA in computer science from Rice University. Stefan is one of our state and local government solution consultants, and he currently supports the Southwest region, which really encompasses states from Texas all the way west over to California. He's been with Lexis for just about 3 years, and he spent his entire time here at Lexis supporting our state and local government agencies. Prior to his time here, Stefan received his JD from the University of Akron School of Law, and he holds a BA in Philosophy and Religious Studies from the University of Toledo. I know many of us have actually been working from home for the better part of a year now, and I would venture to guess that most people are probably pretty familiar with Zoom controls, but just to be safe, I'm going to quickly review them. I believe all of the lines are probably muted right now. I don't hear any background noise, which is great, but please double check by visiting the audio settings and ensuring that you are on mute, and that will help us ensure there isn't background noise throughout today's webinar. The chat feature in the middle of your toolbar is a great way to strike up some conversation during the session. You can actually chat privately, one-to-one. You can send notes to just myself as the host or the other presenters, or you can pose a question to the entire group. During this session, we do have the Q&A feature enabled. This is a little redundant with chat being available, but if you have a specific question that you would like answered more towards the end of our Q&A time, this is really a great place to post that question. I'll do my best as others are presenting, such as Wade and Stefan, to monitor chat and try to respond to things in real time if I'm able to. Okay, so here at LexisNexis, one of our goals is really to build solutions that meet the needs of our customers. And so we do actually strive to listen and obtain feedback whenever possible. Based on some of the feedback that we've received from those currently in the state and local government space, we've been told that attorneys and other legal professionals need help with some of the challenges they face during their civil litigation process. 2 of these challenges include things like the ability to more easily understand data-based factors that are impacting cases, and the other is being able to confidently build a strategy to support the best outcome for their clients. Today, you will learn about 3 ways that litigation analytics can enhance your civil litigation workflow, which will ultimately contribute to those better outcomes that I mentioned just a moment ago. The first that we're going to cover is by helping you gain a high-level understanding of judges and courts, and we do this by providing insight into caseload, top practice areas, time to key events, and damages. Knowing and understanding these data points can really help you shape the best strategy. The second is to provide the ability to quickly compare judge behavior and courtroom trends. This really allows you to make more confident decisions, and that's something that we hear about a lot, is being very confident in the decisions that you make based on the information that you have at your fingertips. Finally, litigation analytics allows you to easily view law firm and attorney experience across case types, courts, and more. I would say this is something that helps ensure you are not missing any critical information about the opposition. And for most people, the more you know about your opponent, the better prepared you will be when you actually have to face them. Before we move on, I want to go ahead and launch just a quick poll to get us started. So give me a moment here. Very simple question. Do you currently have access to any tools that provide you with analytics which help you inform your civil litigation strategy? Just a simple set yes/no question. We'll let that run for about 20 seconds or so, and then I will end the poll and share the results. Looks like we've got about half the people responding so far. Responses are still coming in, starting to slow down just a little bit. I'm going to give it about 5 more seconds and then go ahead and end the polling. So not surprisingly, I'll share the results here. Hopefully you can see them. Wade, shake your head if you can see them. Great, thank you, Stefan. And it looks like only about 22% of the people on the line today actually have access to some sort of analytics that help them with their strategy, and close to 78% do not. So I think what's really important here is that if you do have access to analytics today, then this session is going to provide you with something to compare what you have access to. And of course, if you don't have access to analytics, then you're going to get some insight into what is actually available. So I'm going to stop sharing the results and close out my poll. And now I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Wade so he can tell us a little bit more about litigation analytics and where it fits in to the Lexis Plus ecosystem.
Thanks, Paul. Happy to be here. Well, you've heard a little bit about some of the uses of Lexis Plus Litigation Analytics. I want to set the stage for kind of what the product is and how it fits in. Litigation Analytics is a new experience inside of Lexis Plus. And if you're not familiar, we've got the 4 experiences here up on the slide that are inside Lexis Plus. There's research, primary legal research, practical guidance, and litigation analytics is the new one as of less than a month ago. And then the 4th one there is brief analysis. And so what does litigation analytics do? It answers at a high level, what's going on in litigation with this court, judge, attorney, or law firm. And it's integrated right into the Lexis Plus workflow. And let me give you let me set up a quick example to kind of make that clear. You'll get a live demo in a little bit here, but just to set the stage, imagine you get sued for an employment matter, and you're trying to gauge at the very beginning of the case, kind of how serious is this case? Are they looking for a quick settlement, or do you think this might go all the way to trial and damages? You know, knowing that might affect how you allocate internal resources or outside counsel. And the thing you want to know is, well, one of the things you'd want to know is, well, who is this law firm? Especially if you've never heard of them. You know, are they an experienced employment firm or not? With litigation analytics, you can easily type in the name of a law firm and in a couple clicks, see their litigation track record across federal and, where available, state courts. And let's look at an example of just some of those analytics. For example, you can look up a law firm and see the cases by type. What kind of cases do they do? That's the top right screenshot there. You can also see the top courts. Where does this law firm actually litigate? That's that other screenshot. And there are other analytics available as well. The top clients this law firm has, the timing to key events, the total damages awarded, and things like, are they plaintiff or defense side? And so knowing whether the law firm tends to work plaintiff or defense side, knowing what kinds of cases they've litigated in the past and where, it's all critical information to assess the law firm in the context of this new employment case. Then you can make data-driven assessments about resources and about your litigation strategy. And the great part is you can do it all inside Lexis Plus.
Hey, Wade, that's a great intro to get us started. I'm kind of curious, what's the theory behind having this data in Lexis Plus as opposed to somewhere else?
Yeah, Well, as you mentioned, I'm also the co-head of product over at Lex Machina, Lexis's kind of flagship analytics platform. And when we decided that we wanted to put analytics, some of the analytics inside the Lexis Plus ecosystem, we were excited at Lex Machina because we've been doing analytics for 10 years, and we're excited to be able to reach a much larger audience inside of Lexis Plus. And so we wanted to make the analytics easily and accessible to this large audience. And we surveyed people to ask kind of what are the key things you're looking for in an analytics product like this inside Lexis Plus. And 3 things came back pretty clear: accuracy, confidence, and efficiency. And we'll talk about those first 2 in a little bit, but let me answer your question partly with the efficiency point. In terms of efficiency, we knew analytics are best served right alongside workflows attorneys and legal professionals already do. Everybody does legal research. So if we could get the analytics into Lexis Plus, where you're already doing some of your research, it makes it very efficient to jump over and add analytics to your workflow. And also, not to be underestimated, in terms of dollar efficiency, litigation analytics is available inside of Lexis Plus at no additional charge, which of course is great. And so, putting that all together, we brought certain high-level analytics about courts, judges, attorneys, and law firms from Lex Machina and used that same technology to power part of litigation analytics. And that's what helps us get to the accuracy and confidence points.
Great, I appreciate that background. I think that helps clear things up a little bit. But I'm wondering now, can you tell me more about how Lexis Plus works, under the hood, so to speak?
Sure. Well, as I said, litigation analytics is powered by Lex Machina's, the industry leader, powered by our technology for federal courts and the largest state courts, Los Angeles, New York, Houston, and an ever expanding list. And we knew, though, from the large audience we were trying to reach in Lexis Plus, that breadth of coverage would also be key. And so we partnered with CourtLink, who's got more coverage than anyone in terms of state courts and dockets, to power over 1,000 state courts here in litigation analytics. So we've got the depth of Lex Machina's technology and the breadth of CourtLink's coverage. And so actually, let's walk through an example of why Lex Machina's technology produces the best data available to bolster that kind of accuracy and confidence point I mentioned. So there are 2 kinds of coverage available inside litigation analytics. There are enhanced courts, where analytics are powered by the court data, enhanced by Lex Machina's industry-leading technology. And then there is available coverage, where analytics are powered by docket data from the court. And this data is limited to the information available on the face of the docket sheet. So a lot of the kind of state court market out there is looking at available analytics, just sort of the face of the docket sheet. And so that's why I want to talk to you about enhanced, because enhanced is a big differentiator. And as a reminder, in litigation analytics, all the federal courts and the major metro courts are enhanced. And that screenshot on the right there is a screenshot from the product. It's a list of kind of every state court that says by court, judge, attorney, and law firm, what kind of analytics you can expect, what coverage level. And so let me dive into a specific example so you understand what I mean. Here on the left, we're looking at a docket sheet from Los Angeles. And in that green box in the top left, you can see some basic data: the case number, the filing date, the case name. State courts are generally pretty good about providing this on the face of the docket. It's, sort of basic information. However, state courts vary dramatically in how much judge, attorney, and law firm information they provide on the face of the docket sheet. Many states don't provide any of that. In my example here, you can see in the red box in the lower left, this Los Angeles case provides some parties and some attorneys, but no judge and no law firm. So if you only are looking at the face of the docket, this is all you can know. And that's what is in the available coverage levels. And that's what kind of most of the rest of the market is dealing with. But let me show you what enhanced looks like. Enhanced coverage uses documents. That's the biggest thing to remember. Instead of just looking at the face of the docket, we go in and pull out information from the underlying documents themselves. For example, here we're using Lex Machina's signature block extraction technology to discover entities. And in this top right screenshot, you can see the complaint from that same case I showed you before. And Joseph Farzan is that top lawyer. He was on the face of the docket, but Stephen Duran was not. Similarly, their law firm there, the Joseph Farzan law firm, is listed in orange there on the complaint. And so those are pulled out of the documents themselves. Similarly, this example here in the bottom right is a notice of case assignment. We've highlighted the judge there. That's where we figured out who the judge was on this case. We had to pull it out of a document. And just to reiterate, this information was not available on the face of the docket sheet. You've got to be able to look into documents. And this is, not an easy thing to do technically or kind of financially. Lexis and Lex Machina have spent millions of dollars buying millions of state court documents and federal documents to be able to pull out this information.
Thanks, Wade. That's a great look under the hood, so to speak, to let us know kind of what drives the analytics here in litigation analytics on Lexis Plus. But I'm kind of curious, what do you think as a product manager and someone who's practiced, what do you think the key benefits for state and local government attorneys and legal professionals might be?
Sure. I think for state and local government, especially, I think one of the key things would be that diligence on unfamiliar attorneys or law firms, what kinds of cases they've done, where they've done them, and just the volume. Like, have they litigated a lot of cases before or not? I know that sounds like basic information, but anybody who's tried to dig around on law firm websites or Google knows it's not easy to get real data about this. Every law firm website says they have extensive experience about different areas of law. But the great part about these analytics are they allow you to make real data-driven assessments instead of just guessing or asking, other people in your office, oh, have you heard of them? That kind of anecdotal knowledge. And, I don't want to undersell the judge analytics as well. From talking to state and local government attorneys, they often know their court and judge pretty well, but sometimes they'll encounter a new one. And it's always nice to confirm that kind of anecdotal knowledge, like, oh, this judge tends to run slow, with real data, oh, this judge's cases reach trial in a median of X days, and that's longer than Y days by the other judges in this court. And so, similar, and that has real effects on your expectations, right? Confirming that a judge doesn't see many torts cases might give you confidence that you need to explain a nuanced area of torts law a little more in your brief. And my last point, will again plug a great part for SLG, is this is all fully integrated into Lexis Plus already.
Great, Wade. That's an excellent introduction into litigation analytics. We really appreciate your insight into it. I'm not sure about the individuals on the line today with us. I always see value personally in seeing a live product. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Stefan Shields, who is going to provide a demonstration of Lexis Plus with a focus on those three key ways where analytics can actually help inform your civil litigation research or your civil litigation strategy. So Stefan, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now and allow you to take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Let's go ahead and share my screen. And can you see my screen okay?
Looks like it's loading and we are good to go.
All righty. So Lexis Plus litigation allows legal professionals at a high level to gain insight into judges, courts, attorneys, and law firms that are appearing in front of or against to help you make better informed decisions. For example, Lexis Plus litigation analytics will allow you to answer the questions such as how long it takes for a lawsuit to reach termination in a certain court, or certain, how fast a certain judge may use. So first, we're going to see that litigation analytics appears on the left here. It joins our ecosystem of legal research, practical guidance, and brief analysis. With a simple click, I can change litigation analytics. And today for the first example, I'm going to be using a court I work with a lot, Fort Bend County. And I'm just going to type in the name. Now I can just wait for it to load below or select an entity beforehand. Maybe I want to make sure I'm looking for the right judge or court and on the same right level. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter from here. And we can see it lists the trial court judges of that court on the right and maybe some relevant attorneys or law firms in the area. So we're going to go here and go to State Trial Court, Fort Bend County District Court. And right away, we can see it starts with cases filed by year. And we can see the ranges from 2016 to 2021. That's going to keep expanding as time goes. And we can see how many cases they're taking filed by year. We can see that the trend dipped a little bit in 2020 for obvious reasons. But we notice that some of the information below is hyperlinked. If, for instance, I go into 2020, I will access a read-only mode of Lex Machina. To really be able to go a little further from this page, you need a subscription to Lex Machina. But we can see some basic information in here, the cases themselves, the docket numbers, and then we can go expand our research from there. Below, we see cases by type. We can see that there's a lot of contract cases in this court. And that can help glean to you, maybe this is my first time in this court and I'm not sure what, primarily this court handles or if they have ever handled my issues, or for instance, they have handled tax issues before. So I know this court is well prepared, or, obviously can be well prepared, but well, suited for it. Time to key events, we get a median time for trial is 459 days. So we know we can relay back, so maybe we're a city attorney, we can relay back to the city council or other people in our office a potential timeline if we go into the trial here. Or if we're looking at termination, it can be about 273 days. That obviously takes two to tango when you're inside a court, so things can vary from that timeline. And then trial damages, we get to see how much is awarded in this court, and it's about $7 million. And just a quick click back, we're going to go ahead and look at Judge Childers here, and I've talked with him before. And maybe this is my first time going before Judge Childers. Why is this helpful? I'm gaining an insight into to see how busy Judge Childers is. So we can see here he's increased every year. Even in 2020, he took more cases. So maybe that trend's going to continue in 2021. We can see what cases he usually handles, and we can see it's primarily contract cases. And if we want to see those contract cases, we can click right here into doing so. So Lex Machina will continue to enhance your searching with litigation analytics. Time to key events, we can see that he works a little slower compared to the overall court average. Trials a little longer, about 573 days, and termination it's 366. So if I was entering this court and this is my first time before this judge specifically, I have that deep dive of information, that insight to be able to really understand what's going on and be able to relay information back to my office about potentially how long things could take. Hit the back arrow again. Actually, I'm just going to let's go ahead and refresh and go back to the start. Next, we're going to look at a law firm. The law firm we're going to be looking at is one where for a couple of my law school buddies, ended up at, and it's called Burns White, and they are based in the Cleveland, West Pennsylvania area. We can see here, it will pull up other law firms that are similar names, maybe a certain attorney, but we're going to go ahead and look at Burns White. And we're going to look at the federal tab to start. This is essential. Say I'm going against the defendant hired Burns White, and I've never faced them before. I'm not sure what kind of cases they handle, what their experience is. So if I go in here, I can see that they handle a lot of consumer protection cases, insurance cases. So they have a lot of resources to handle all these different areas of law where they have a lot of experience. So they're going to be prepared before they go in. Cases filed by year, we can see how busy they are. Maybe they're taking less clients because they're getting bigger clients that take up more of their time. They're not taking small individuals anymore. Top courts, we get to see where they've practiced in or where they've been had cases in. And we can see here they've been in Eastern District of Pennsylvania quite a bit. That's primarily where they are. So that means they're going to have a good, relationship with a lot of people in that court. They've been before a lot of those judges, so they know what they're doing when they enter that court. Having that information, having that insight is just going to prove invaluable to you because you're going to know, all right, they know what they're doing in that court. I better be on my A game because they have over 1,000 cases in this certain court, as compared to maybe the Southern District of Ohio, where it's a little less. So you maybe, you're going to be on equal footing, or you're going to have more better footing than Burns White. Top clients by open cases, we can see here a lot of these are companies. And this is just going to glean to you, all right, they hire big corporations, Progressive, FedEx, so they have the resources to represent those clients, so that you're handling someone that has the resources and that's their back pocket. Party rules, it's no surprise that they're going to be usually representing the defendant, not a third party. And they do have time to key events. Obviously, it takes two to tango, so sometimes these numbers can adjust, but we can see that about 180 days if they're trying to do a dismiss that's contested. And scroll down. In damages, we can actually view the damages in Lex Machina. And what's nice about this is we actually get to see the award amount. Whatever they've lost for their client or won for their client, we get to see the actual dollar amount that's been awarded. And from here, we can copy the citation using Lex. Obviously, this is just a read only mode. I keep flubbing that up. You can actually just go and copy the names and find that case later. So you can have that information, know what exactly that dollar amount. Too often I hear in my role, where can we find damage reward amounts? In the past, it was a little difficult. Now it's very easy to find. Scrolling back up, we're going to go ahead and hit Lexis Plus and go back to the start screen. Another really valuable function, I should say, is compare courts and judges. Now, I'm not going to manually enter today. I'm actually going to use the example, but this is a really great tool, and I want to make sure you hear why, because too often when we enter a court, we want to see it compared to a bunch of different judges. You want to get a lay of the land. Going individually can be a little time consuming. So maybe this is your first time going into a certain federal court, or your first time practicing in federal court, and you just want to see how different the judges are, how it's compared to the court. So let's go ahead and look at the example. And we're comparing the Southern District of Texas with 3 of the judges of the Southern District of Texas. And we get to see the overall values here. And we get to see that Judge Ellison and Gilmore are very similar in the amount of cases they've handled, but Judge Brown is very new, it seems like, and doesn't have as many cases on their docket. We can see cases by type, how much each of them are handling. Maybe one handles certain area law more, or one doesn't have any experience. We can see here in bankruptcy, Judge Brown has very little experience. And we get the dismiss the actions. We can see, Judge Gilmore, and typically in her cases, they move a little faster for dismissal, or we can see that they're all around the same time frame for summary judgment. Trial as well, termination, and then damages. We can see here that overall they've awarded quite a bit, but Judge Ellison roughly has awarded 5 times more than Judge Gilmore, even though they've handled the same amount of cases. So if you're going back to the city council or whoever you report to, or just your office, hey, we got Judge Ellison, we can know that, hey, potentially we could be awarded more, or there's a potential for a greater award. As I wrap up, I want to keep in mind, Lexis Plus has a lot of great modules that go with litigation analytics, and litigation analytics just takes it to the next level. Having this tool and getting that analytics insight is just going to keep proving valuable over time. I appreciate everyone's time today. I'm going to send it back to Paul.
Thank you, Stefan. Let me get my screen share back up here, and we are going to go ahead and we are going to jump right into our second and last poll question. Let me get a moment to just launch that, and I'm launching it now. So please let me know if you're able to see it with a shake of the head, Wade. Wonderful. Based on a recent survey, this is the #1 way in which respondents are using analytics in the practice of law. So what do you feel is the #1 way that our survey respondents who actually use analytics are using it for the practice of law? Getting some good answers coming in. I'm gonna leave this open for about 15 more seconds. We've got one item leading the way. Couple more answers. Okay, we've got probably about 60% of the people who have voted. If there's any more out there that want to get in an answer, I'm going to give about 10 more seconds. And I will go ahead and end the poll and share the results. So we have a very savvy group here. You can see that 61% of the group decided that, or not decided, but chose that the number one way in which our current respondents are using analytics in the practice of law is to gain competitive insight on opposing counsel, parties, judges, courts, and more. What's interesting, and I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing these results real quick because I want to move to the next slide and share some information. What's very interesting here is that while 76% chose the competitive insights answer as the top reason why they are how they are using analytics for the practice of law, we still had over 70% select case assessment and 64% determining case strategy. And obviously you had the ability to answer with more than one choice, competitive insights leading the way. For any individuals that are interested in taking a look at that survey, you'll be able, I'll go ahead and post the link here in a little bit into the chat functionality so you can gain access to it. Okay, so it looks like we have plenty of time to go ahead and address some questions. So I have about 5 or 6 that, or I'm sorry, about 8 or so, 8 or 9 that were posed in the Q&A. If anybody else has any questions that they would like now, go ahead and drop them in there and we'll try to cover these one by one. So first question is, how do we find out if our employer gives us access to these tools as part of our subscription? So I'll go ahead and take that one because I know this can sometimes be confusing. If you're a current subscriber to Lexis Nexis, you probably have access to either what has been referred to as the Lexis Advance research platform, or you could have potentially been moved to or upgraded to Lexis Plus. Not to make things more confusing, but we are trying to rebrand the Lexis Advance experience to just Lexis. And then what you've seen today here via Litigation Analytics is Lexis Plus. So to find out what you have access to, I would recommend most agencies that we work with have some sort of administrator or law librarian or training lead that handles the LexisNexis subscription or LexisNexis account. I would recommend reaching out to that individual in your agency, and they should be able to give you clear access, or excuse me, a clear answer onto what you have access to. I will say this, if you have an ID and a password and you log in, if the Lexis Advance or the regular Lexis experience does not have that dock on the left-hand side of the screen that showed like legal research, practical guidance, now litigation analytics, and brief analysis. If you see that dock on the left-hand side, then it's pretty clear that your agency has access to Lexis Plus. Next question is, what is the difference between Lexis Plus and Lexis Advance, and how do we know if we have access to Lexis Plus? So there's a pretty good answer from the first one to get you going on the second one. Although, Wade, I think I'm going to pull you in for this one. Can you kind of give us an idea of what you would say the big differences are between Lexis Advance and Lexis Plus?
Sure. Lexis Plus is the new platform. That's where a lot more of the development is happening, and that's the only place that has litigation analytics. That would be the high-level answer. There are various other parts in the research experience that are unique to Lexis Plus.
Yeah, great question. I think to add on to that, Lexis Plus also has integrated into it what we call practical guidance. For those that may be familiar with our practical guidance tools, we had a what I guess I would call a more of a standalone option, which was called Lexis Practice Advisor. Well, all of that information, all of that content has now been incorporated into Lexis Plus to provide that single ecosystem, that one experience where you have access to all the information you need in one location. And that includes the brief analysis tool as well. To add on to that just a little bit, most of the enhancement work that we will be doing moving forward is going to be done on Lexis Plus. So as we continue to invest in our tools and we continue to invest in our technology, you're going to see the majority of, well, I shouldn't say majority, all of those enhancements coming to Lexis Plus. That doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to update content in Lexis Advance or regular Lexis. We'll continue to update the content in both platforms until our organization makes a decision that Lexis will no longer be available and only Lexis Plus will be available. Next question here is, are analytics available for administrative agencies such as workers' compensation commissions and sitting councils? Yes. Lexis Plus, including the analytics, is absolutely available to any of our agencies that are subscribers to the platform. So as long as you are a subscriber to Lexis Plus, you will have access to all of the analytics features that are available in that platform. I do want to kind of circle back to the previous question about, does Lexis Advance include analytics? Lexis Advance has a functionality available, which is an add-on called Context. Context does include some analytics as well, but it's a little bit different than the analytics that you're getting with Lexis Plus, which obviously we've titled or labeled Litigation Analytics.
Yeah, and Paul, if I could chime in, I think the question about analytics available for admin agencies, I read that as, can we get the analytics about the admin agencies?
Great point.
And so the answer right now is no, not in litigation analytics. I'm not aware of any analytics about those kind of agencies. Over in Lex Machina, we do have sort of pretty complete analytics about the PTAB and ITC, both kind of patent IP related forms. But we don't have the other kind of administrative agencies like that, except when their cases make it into federal district court and state court.
Great, thank you for that clarification. That's important. Here's the next question. Is there a means to additionally narrow down the type of cases a court has handled? For instance, can you look at employment cases or whistleblower cases only?
I can take that one.
Please.
Not generally, no. The litigation analytics is about those kind of high-level insights about a court, a judge, a law firm, or attorney's kind of total track record. If you do want to dig in deeper, that is a great place to transition to Lex Machina, but you do need a separate subscription for Lex Machina. With Lex Machina, Lex Machina offers a lot of filters and searchability to kind of narrow down to exactly the kind of cases you want.
That's an excellent answer with a lot of foresight, Wade, because the same individual that posed that original question also posed the question, is Lex Machina an additional subscription or service beyond Lexis Plus? And the answer to that is yes, it is. But it certainly has, as Wade mentioned, quite a bit more analytics functionality than you'll get with the litigation analytics. So very good question.
Yeah, and I will just to clarify, Stefan showed you a couple of those Lex Machina screens in his demo. And those are, we want those there for transparency, so you understand kind of where the numbers are coming from, but you only get the first page of results there in Lex Machina. So it's the preview to see where the underlying stuff is coming from, but you do need that separate subscription for the full use of Lex Machina.
Great. So it looks like we have another question here, which is, does Brief Advisor still require the brief to be in MS Word format? And as far as I understand, and Wade, I know Brief Advisor isn't necessarily your specialty, but as far as I understand it, the answer to that is yes. In order to use the brief analysis tool, your brief does need to be in either a Word or PDF format, right? Because it can be converted from PDF.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. Good. So we've got a couple more questions here that a few of them we may be able to fly through. One is, how do I know what analytics are available in my specific state court? Wade, do you think you can take that one?
Sure. Yeah, one of my slides had that quick screenshot. There is a page in the product linked to on the right side of the page on most entities that you look up. There's like a where does this data come from box, and that'll link you to a page that has a list of 1,000+ specific state courts, and that'll tell you what kind of analytics we have for the court, the judge, the law firm, and the attorneys inside that court. So you can go check that out for your specific court.
Good. And let's see here. It looks like we have someone said that we saw that you can look up judges and courts, but they're asking if they can also look up a lawyer or opposing counsel. Wade, do you want to take that one too?
Sure. Yes, you can look up an individual attorney or lawyer. Yes, and the opposing counsel, sure, can be law firm or attorney. Stefan showed you an example of a law firm. The analytics are very similar for an attorney. There's a couple things that are different, but by and large, it's a similar idea.
Wonderful. Okay. There's one more question here, but I think that's actually going to be covered in our final slide. So I'm going to hold off. And if there are any other questions, is your software available for sale? So yes, the way that we operate is that we provide our, I wouldn't call it a software, right? Because Lexis Plus is a web-based platform. So access to our products are available via subscription. And if it's something that you're interested in, I will absolutely cover that on our closing slide to give you some information on where you can contact people. Okay, with that, I believe being our last question, I'm going to go to our next and what I'll call our final slide. So first of all, I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your day to join our webinar. We did have some people ask about how you get access to a free trial. We do offer free trials of Lexis Plus, and you can gain access to that by visiting lexisnexis.com/Lexis Plus. And you'll find on that page a button that says free trial on it. So simply click on the free trial button and you should be good to go. If you have any problems with that site or you want to talk to somebody live, you can contact us at 800-543-6862. And if you'd like any additional information about the state and local government solutions, plus looking at potentially industry news and hot topics, you can also visit us at lexisnexis.com/SLG, which is our state and local government page. Within the next couple of days, we're going to send out a follow-up email, and that email will include a link to today's recording in case you want to revisit anything that you heard. And it'll also contain a very, very quick 4-question survey that should take you less than 2 minutes to complete. So if you do have a quick moment, we would love for you to complete that survey because, as I mentioned at the beginning, feedback is something that's very important and very valuable to us, and we shape a lot of what we do based on that feedback. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope you all have an excellent evening.